Welcome to Coryell Roofing, Setting the Standard. Today we're going to be talking about roofing in healthcare, hospitals. A lot of people don't think about what takes place above the roof of a hospital, but we do. We think about it all the time. We have a guest, Jeremy High with Coryell Roofing here today. Jeremy's long-time seasoned veteran roofing salesman and consultant and has guided a lot of customers over the years into the right decisions, mainly in the state of Oklahoma, but also in Kansas and Missouri. Had a massive impact on a lot of educational institutions and hospitals. Jeremy, you are from Newcastle, Oklahoma, and recently moved to Washington, Oklahoma. You grew up in Newcastle, moved to Washington. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, so we have 4 kids currently, and due here in June. Ages range from oldest daughter's 12, my son's 10, got a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and then, like I said, due here in June. So as you can imagine, very busy helping my clients out, but even busier at the house on the weekends. So
when do you get a break?
I'm waiting on it.
And yeah. I'm sure your wife Brittany doesn't get much of a break either. So
that's right. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you went to university at Rose State College, and then you also went to USAO in Chickasha. Played baseball, correct? Tell us about that.
I was able to further my education on a scholarship for baseball. Rose State was a junior college. I had the opportunity to go play there for a couple of years. Then went on to my 4-year school. Started dealing with some health complications with my arm being a pitcher. So wasn't able to play my senior year and kind of got to in the workforce after that. So it was a great experience. Learned a lot about myself and was able to further my education a little bit longer. So
I'll never forget that. You were your wife Brittany was working at 180 Medical in Oklahoma City while you were finishing up your college degree, and you were pitching, and then right out of college you were working to get in the oil and gas industry, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And then we had a conversation shortly after that where maybe roofing's a good fit for you. I mean, nobody grows up thinking they want to be in roofing, but we thought maybe this could work for you. And how's it been for you?
It's been phenomenal. I truly, when I first started down the path of college, the path was to go get that degree and, kind of go work for that Fortune 500 company. And you gave me the opportunity to get involved in the construction industry, which is also just a great market to be in Oklahoma, outside of the oil and gas. And it's truly made a big impact on my life. Just the value that we provide to our customers, the product, just the family, the culture, and just the whole team aspect. As you can imagine, being a pitcher, playing on the team, and then kind of having that same team atmosphere where we're at right now, and kind of what we're building and what we're continuing to build in the future.
So there's a few parallels between your college career in baseball and to what you're doing in roofing today.
Yeah, I firmly believe the field I'm playing on now just happens to be a little bit taller.
Yeah,
so yeah.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
And we've also got Kelly Coryell here with us today again, Director of Sales for Coryell Roofing, and Kelly leads the charge over all of the states that we cover in the South, and it's a tall task, and he works with a lot of our team and making sure that everybody's headed in the right direction, applying strategy, taking care of our clients, and ultimately protecting people, property, and policy. That's what our mission is. We want to set the standard in every state we work in, and the standard is to make sure that people are protected, correct?
100%.
And then when you think about, Jeremy, as a family man in Oklahoma, growing up in Oklahoma, having roots there, when you think about the core values of Coryell Roofing, which is a commitment to excellence, a commitment to integrity, and a commitment to growth, how do you feel that lines up with the way that you were brought up in Oklahoma?
All those being big catalysts and what I firmly believe in, and the reason why I'm still here today, by checking all 3 of those boxes. And what we're doing, what we're continuing to do is further educate, not just in the education industry, but what we're talking about here today with hospitals. The integrity part is, when we go out and we're meeting with these clients, they need to be navigated. They're not familiar with the industry that we're in. So a lot of times it's not, a lot of people get it wrong in the aspect of I'm in sales. A lot of times just listening and understanding what they're dealing with and what they need. Every situation is different, whether it's a school district or a hospital. A lot of times you just got to understand, walk the roof, and fully grasp what they're dealing with, and find the solutions that make sense for them.
It's all about protecting what's below. You've worked with customers like Hitachi in Oklahoma, a massive facility where they've got critical data below. How does that compare to working with a hospital where They've got critical components in the building. They've got critical patients in the building. What is so crucial about making sure that you protect those entities as well?
Yeah, hospitals can be very challenging. As you can imagine, a situation like Hitachi, they usually have some windows where, navigating traffic and flow of employees and customers. Hospitals a 24/7, 365 business. So being able to communicate and create a plan and a path by communication with their staff and understanding areas we can't go. A lot of rooftop activity up there with units, lines, but also areas where they may have a helicopter pad and different stuff and transitions going on. So each story is a little bit different, but understanding, like I said, and navigating that path with the client and understanding kind of what they're dealing with, but where they're going with things. So
yeah, every client's important, but you do have some that just take a little bit more critical care, and healthcare industry and hospitals seem to be one. Kelly, you've worked directly with Jeremy for 13 years, taking care of clients all across multiple states. Tell me a little bit about what it's like working with Jeremy.
It's a daily riot. No, he's fantastic, and for that matter, the entire team at Coryell Roofing, I think, top notch. Just couldn't be better. But Jeremy in particular, he has a very easy approach to clients. He does listen. He does care about what they're looking for, what they need, and he'll give them options. Not everybody has an unlimited budget. Not everybody's on a tight budget. So Jeremy is great at understanding what the complications are, what the budget restrictions are, and finding a path that works for our client and puts them at ease.
What is Jeremy's greatest strength that you see he has to offer to not only the healthcare industry, but to education and the private sector? What's the greatest skill set that he has that you see him apply on a daily basis?
He's got great strategy and detail. Jeremy understands the ins and outs of rooftops. He understands what's going to work on that rooftop and what won't, and he's never going to put you in a rush or a bind. And that's one of his greatest strengths. Is he is easy to work with. He understands where the pitfalls are, and he navigates his clients around them.
Pretty safe to say that a father of soon-to-be 5 has learned some patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon to be the high five.
And applying it to the high five and applying it to your career and working with clients. Has it been beneficial for you to have a patient approach and a strategic approach? And how has that helped your clients?
Absolutely. I remember dealing with a client one time, as far as in that I've kind of adapted it to my everyday thing is you can't rush perfection, but also there's no such thing as problems, only solutions. So we kind of take that same mentality and understanding the different parts and navigating, big decisions in a critical area where weather is something continuously to knock on the door.
So talking about that, when we talk about your skills and all the strengths that you have, that you bring to the table, I don't think I've ever once met a client, or anybody for that matter, friends, family, that doesn't just love you. You just have that way with people. You have the ability to connect with people and never put them into a compromising situation. You're always there for them. What molded you into that? What about your upbringing that shaped you?
Yeah, I would say probably my papa, my parents, just genuine people. A lot of times just, keeping those same core values, but also understanding, especially in this state, it's not a matter if you're going to need me, it's when. I don't go lock down every deal. A lot of times it's something where a decision was made, and it usually comes down to numbers as far as that goes. But I firmly believe in what we're doing. Our price points are generating an aspect of designing and building a roof that's going to last for the duration of that warranty. As you can imagine, we've seen large hail come through large parts of the state last night, and phone's been ringing today, and we're always needed. But I think just being genuine and understanding kind of what's going on, but also believing in the product we're putting on. We're not going to be the cheapest, but we firmly believe that we're putting a product on there you're going to have to touch again for the next 20 years.
Awesome. So in the healthcare industry, their structure, their organizational structure is much like a school or higher education, all of these entities that we work with, where they have a board of directors and they have facilities personnel. Have you found that to be beneficial in working with them, that you have literally a group of people that are coming together to protect that property and think about the best interests? Has that been beneficial in working with hospitals?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather probably deal with the board, because usually it's kind of more of a collective collaboration as far as that goes. You can imagine making a a multi-million-dollar decision and you have, maybe a 15, 20-minute window to go in there and kind of help navigate, but also understand that it's actually, scoping what exactly they're getting, the differences as far as products that hold that roof together, design that roof, and just being able to collaborate on a board level. A lot of times there may be someone with a construction background or a business background that kind of can ask those proper questions to maybe help guide and make those big critical decisions.
Kelly, what do you think the biggest challenges hospitals face are today when they consider their building envelope and especially roofing? What are the biggest challenges?
Well, I think first you have to think about what's underneath the building. And it's a lot of people that are probably on their worst day, maybe the worst moment of their life. And taking that into consideration, the people that work there that are high stress and do not need disruption, but they also have to keep it leak free. You can't allow water in the building, not in a hospital. It has to be a sanitary place. So there are a lot of challenges. There's challenges with the off-gassing of things that come off the roof. You can't have smells in there. It's just an extremely challenging building structure to roof on a regular basis.
And yet Jeremy's found success in working with hospitals to overcome some of those challenges.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to, Jeremy?
Well, I think it's the team that you've put in place, Chris. I think by having the safety compliance officer, I think by having our QA checks, the people that we have in there to kind of help mitigate those future callbacks and the situation where you get water in the buildings. I think by being able to invest all that on the front end kind of helps the callbacks and the reputation on the back end. It's going to lead to other additional clients.
Does the type of roof system matter on a hospital?
100%. One comes to mind. It was a busy and nasty tar roof. A lot of complications, not just with the field itself, but some of the parapet walls, some of the details where you have expansion joints. So being able to fully encapsulate and look at it from a full envelope situation of how's this roof going to perform for the next 20 years, and then understanding where those pressure points are. A lot of routine maintenance items being around curbs, stack flashings. As you can imagine, a hospital is very busy, and these are all key and critical components of why that roof's going to perform for long term.
In terms of average hospitals that you work with, the industry as a whole, would you say their hospitals are more focused on quality or price?
I think there's a happy medium balance. I think price point, it always comes down to that. But I think if you're able to have those further conversations with the higher level folk of understanding, what we're dealing with, why these components are designed and engineered for this specific reason, I think it kind of gets them off center and helps them make more of a dedicated decision for the longevity of that facility.
And that's got to feel good when you are able to guide a hospital into a decision where they're protecting the people in the hospital, the staff, the patients, the surgeons, everybody that exists in that building. You have control and strategy and influence over protecting every one of them so that they can continue forward without disruption. That's got to feel good.
Oh, 100%. It is, yeah. Very fulfilling.
And you've had some success stories in that?
Yeah. I know there's one community, is kind of a smaller community up in northwest Oklahoma. It's probably one of the largest employers in that area. They were dealing with challenges, didn't have a budget, but through our inspection process, we were able to help kind of navigate and point out some of the damage they had. Going into it, we knew it was going to be a situation where they were looking for bids, but we went ahead and made the investment to kind of help navigate down that path. But also at the end of the result is, as you can imagine, they got paid for like, kind, and quality. We're able to design and engineer a building to put more of the product they were looking for within that budget. And I think at the end of the day, I'll never forget leaving the job site there and the guys looking around like, okay, what are you going to leave me to help maintain this building? I'm like, you don't need anything. The days of the tar and going to get the silicone sealant and apply it to your curbs and stacks, that's no more. So
just an annual inspection, just a checkup
absolutely.
To make sure it's okay.
It's something where we fully engage and come back out, like to shake hands and see the product we put on still perform to this day.
Kelly, do you recommend to hospitals, just the same as in the education industry, that they inspect their roofs once a year, and why should they?
I think it's even more critical for hospitals. I firmly believe they need to have annual inspections. First and foremost, you need to catch it before it gets into the building. And with the right people looking at your roof at the right time, you can see where problems are going to come down the road. So you need those photos, you need that history, and God forbid something happens, a storm comes through.
Isn't it ironic that we would be recommending a health check to a health institution?
Yeah.
that they also recommend health checks to their patients. So essentially, we have patients as well.
Yes, we do.
And it's a great practice to get into to make sure that the roofs on a hospital are being looked at least once a year, documented. And does that cost anything? Our team at Coryell Roofing, Kelly, your entire sales team spends every single day looking at hospitals and schools and universities, and at no cost most of the time, correct?
At no cost. As a matter of fact, we probably average about 40 to 42 buildings a week minimum, looking at no cost that the company.
What does a roof performance assessment consist of?
It consists of photos, annotations on photos that will address any issues, long-term things to look for. Also, we'll grade the roof and put an expected replacement date out there. So you might have a great roof and your replacement date might be 20 years down the road.
So it
might also be
helps.
2 years down the road. Yes, and it can also give you budget replacement numbers and budget repair numbers.
So you're helping the business officials at a hospital make decisions on long-term planning.
Without question.
And is that typically beneficial for them? Do they respond well to that?
Yeah, one comes to mind. We came out and did an assessment, like you said, no cost. Was able to help kind of navigate and section it out to where it kind of fit within their capital outlay plan for certain. A lot of times, when we're able to do that, we can come up with solutions, whether it be a layover or a coating system that we can extend the life of that roof for maybe another 10 years, keep that water out and allow them to properly budget for long-term and master planning. And all that's done with our comprehensive coming out, doing a roof performance assessment and grading that roof and working directly with their team to kind of help navigate that path.
Okay, so let's get real here, Jeremy. You spend a decent amount of time away from your family, and you've got a beautiful family and growing. It's got to be kind of challenging at times to know that you are going to a hospital, to an entity in Kansas or Oklahoma or Missouri, and you're going to spend your time climbing their roofs, hands and knees inspections, documenting, grading roofs, creating reports, and you may not even be awarded business at the end of that. Does that concern you sometimes?
Yeah, it's part of the industry. We firmly believe in partnership, and a lot of times we feel like we're providing a great solution, good information that kind of helps navigate that client. And like I said, not every client is meant for us, but a lot of times that partnership's forged. We're able to go in there and we're just completely transparent. We're not going to go and mislead. A lot of times we'll even walk up there on the rooftop with the actual facilities guy or operations guy itself and kind of point out and some stuff to forward think about, but also what are you guys looking to accomplish and how can we get there? So it is a little bit of investment on our end, and it's something that we firmly believe in doing so, in that partnership and friendship is what I would call it.
And why does Coryell Roofing do this, Kelly?
We invest in the client before the client invests in us. It is truly a partnership.
Becoming a resource.
Without question.
And it's needed. And obviously, in the changing climate, today's weather that we see, I mean, we're right in the middle of it. It's April 2025, and we're seeing very, very damaging, very widespread, very catastrophic storms. Why should a hospital pay attention to that? Why should they be concerned?
For one, I think we could all say the spring's been very active from a wind standpoint. A lot of times, the winning and losing bid is down to the details, right? It's the fastening patterns, whether that's the field, the corners, or the leading edge. But also they're using products that are ES1 compliant. Is it severe hail rated? We get continuous weather in this region, and it's something that when we firmly believe putting that roof system on there, that we're not going to be back there to have to readdress that roof.
It's back to setting the standard.
It's setting the standard.
It's helping hospitals understand loss prevention is one of the key elements. It should be the focus in roofing moving forward. And hospitals that aren't doing that, healthcare institutions, organizations, if they're not paying attention to their risk, they could be very, very exposed. And you've found success in this, helping guide hospitals and education institutions into loss prevention standards?
Absolutely. A lot of times we'll partner. We've got a great relationship with Duralast, and they've got resources out there that we can always collaborate with. As you can imagine, hospitals got a lot of different wing add-ons, a lot of elevation changes. So being able to collaborate with them, understand fully what's going on and the inner workings of the facilities and the challenges they're dealing with, that partnership with Duralast at the end of the day is something that we can always rely on as well.
And in December of 2024 in Florida, Coryell Roofing was crowned Roofing Contractor of the Year by Roofing Contractor Magazine. Has that lent some credibility? That award was given due to the advocacy of loss prevention in the industries that we work in, helping promote better standards, helping every institution and every organization, every building, protecting people, property, and policy. Roofing Contractor Magazine recognized that and said Coryell Roofing is a finalist to be considered for Roofing Contractor of the Year, and we were awarded that. Do you feel like that continued effort moving forward lends credibility to the clients that you're working with?
I do. I think we are setting trends in the industry that we haven't seen before. As you can imagine, I meet with a lot of boards and have to explain why we may be 20% higher. What is the client exactly getting? And I think a lot of that's, hidden behind the warranty side of things. As you can imagine, there's a lot of different ways you could coat a building or spray foam roofs. Is it susceptible to getting damaged? So I do think there is credibility behind that award, and I think it's the flag that we're waving every day and helping further educate not just our clients, but those boards that understand if you don't make this decision today, we may be here in 3 years readdressing this thing.
It takes a lot of investment on your part to help a client understand where they're exposed, to walk them through that plan of loss prevention, to ensure that we're protecting the people, property, and their policy. And I'm sure it can be disheartening at times when you get people that don't listen. Does that happen very often, where they are more focused on low-cost solutions, budget-driven solutions, than focusing on the quality elements of protecting your property? Is that often?
Sure, it does happen from time to time. Like I said, we like to attend those board meetings and further educate what exactly they're getting. A lot of times I don't even like discussing so much the number side of things. It's what are you getting? Just show me the scope, and let's start there, and let's check those boxes of what exactly you're getting.
Understood. So Kelly, if you could recommend to hospitals steps moving forward right now, how can they protect themselves? If you're talking directly to risk management division of a large hospital chain, what do you want them to hear?
Well, I think first, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, you have to have annual inspections. You have to have a professional looking at your roof, someone that understands what quality is, someone that's going to take care of the property. Secondly, you have to follow a standard. Utilizing the FM Global standards for moderate, severe, and very severe hail rated, depending on the area you are in the country, is extremely important. So, and then also your contractor is a very big part. You want a good contractor that when they leave what's left on the roof, which is the material, that you know it's going to be good for that 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, there's options.
Absolutely, and that's a long time to have a system over your heads that you have to have confidence in every single night, especially with the weather elements that we get. You have to know that you're building the right roof system. And unfortunately, there really are no standards required in most of the states that we've worked in and seen that says this is designed to protect you from the elements, from the storms that you receive in your specific region. And that's why Coryell Roofing is promoting so many standards through FM approvals, a testing laboratory, a worldwide company that has been testing and collecting data for the last 30 years in weather, and taken this data and compiled it into making sure that the roof system that is on that hospital is the one that should be on it to protect them from the elements. And that hasn't happened in the past. You feel like that's why hospitals have been exposed to water intrusion? And what does that ultimately, what's the potential risk for water intrusion in a hospital, Jeremy?
Well, for one, kind of starting at the top where you said, yeah, I do think that leaves it up vulnerable for leaks as far as that go. And we all know leaks lead to the M word, that being mold. And that's something that we've got to mitigate, especially at that level. When Kelly's talking about not just the equipment, but the patients underneath that roof, those are all very critical items in that. So making sure, A, you're getting the right product, and two, it's going to perform. And there is challenges and designs and flaws in certain aspects of a building envelope, but making sure all those are addressed when that roof system's put on the first time.
Excuse me, not to mention the disruptions that you can get. And we've talked about that. It's critical below that roof when you're in a hospital environment, a healthcare environment. So making sure that they make the right decision. And you touched on something, Jeremy, when you said helping them understand that it might cost a little bit more. Is that difficult today with the tariffs, with insurance claims, deductibles, increased premiums. I mean, we've all seen it. Insurance companies have had to raise their premiums because they've suffered so much loss. 80% of insurance claims are direct roofing related.
Yeah.
So if you can correct the type of roof systems that are put on buildings, hospitals specifically, you could actually reduce the number of claims, which is ultimately what the goal is of setting standards. And if you can reduce those claims, isn't it safe to say that you could see premium reductions and possibly deductibles come back into line? So is that a challenge in today's market?
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors into a roofing system. A lot of people just look at the top membrane, but also the components, the insulation, right? As you can imagine, there's a lot of rooftop activity up there, being low or even flat sloped. So insulation being tapered or, considered a polyiso or even the gypsum recovery board we use all come at a cost. So if you can imagine when you're building that sandwich, what all's going into that and not just the membrane itself. So being able to sit down with that client and educate and navigate that path is something that you've kind of got to sit down and explain, and that does come at a cost. And sometimes those are uncomfortable situations, but understanding at the end of the day exactly what they're getting and what that roof's going to do as far as performance.
And helping them understand you might save a little bit of money now, but it's going to cost you so much more in the future. And the more and more insurance claims that you have, deductibles and insurance premiums and everything are just going to continue climbing and climbing and climbing. We have to stop that. As a nation, we have to stop that. We have to correct it right now. So making sure that you have the right system, that it's tested and certified for your specific location. So Jeremy, final thought here. If you were to talk to an administrator at a hospital right now, either somebody in facilities or a CEO, administration, CFO, what would you tell them right now if they were to contact you?
For one, get a hold of our team, let us come out and do an assessment. If we've got the ability to go in and understand kind of what's going on underneath the roof and then cross-reference that with the information above the roof, that's kind of step one. Believe it or not, there's a lot of times we come out and do an assessment, there's not really action that needs to be taken. It's more of, here's kind of what's going on, here's what we need to be forward thinking about. A lot of times with this roof performance assessment, also from a documentation standpoint, we'll give them the ability that, hey, there's not any damage up there right now. 2 years down the road that may change. So it kind of gives them the peace of mind, kind of where their current roof is right now, but also just the path moving forward. Challenges with claims have become more of a relevant conversation, but just having that document with our team and kind of that peace of mind at the end of the day is something that I think a lot of clients benefit from.
And Kelly, I'm assuming you would tell the administrators, let us come take a look. I've heard
Absolutely.
You say that repeatedly. It starts with an assessment. Let us come get on your roofs. Does that cost them anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Cost them nothing.
That's a risk.
It is a risk.
It's an investment.
Yep. We invest in our clients before they invest in us.
But the ultimate goal is to help them realize what they're dealing with, set the baseline.
That's right.
Create a long-term vision, focus on the solutions, and put them into a protected state. Again, protecting people, property, and policy.
That's right.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's a challenge, but we're going to change this industry, and we're doing one roof at a time. So it's a powerful thing that we're doing. Yeah. Hospitals are a huge part of our business, just like education, higher education, private work. We take a great amount of pride in making sure that all of these roof systems are the right roof system in every single situation, in every single region. Jeremy, thank you for being here today. Kelly, thank you for being here today. We're just going to continue doing what we do, setting standards and protecting people, property, and policy. Thank you.